Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. It's Tina Stitches and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Sunday, August the 19th, and I'm going to look it up again. Yep, August 19th. It's been 2 weeks since my last video and not a whole lot has happened. I did get some stitching done. I worked on 5 projects, and one of them is a really old whip, and I decided it is time to get this one finished. It has been languishing in my bin of shame for probably 10 years, so time to just finish it, just get those beads on there and get it done. And it happens to be something that a couple of other people have also been stitching on, so that kind of prompted me to work on it. I will show you that in a little bit. And aside from that, the normal stuff has been going on here. The weather has been extremely dry, and so we are in fire season. And last night we had a really decent thunderstorm because it woke me up, and the last time there was a thunderstorm I didn't even wake up, so I almost got up and watched it because I do like watching thunderstorms, but I was concerned about trees falling because I've had that happen and I didn't want that to happen. So anyways, I was able to get back to sleep. My son, who works nights, actually walked home, so he must have headed out before the rain really started. And yeah, there was a new forest fire lit by that storm last night. I checked it out on the M&R website, so that is it's nowhere near me, so we're still good. We do have smoke in the air though, we can smell it, but it hasn't been horribly too badly affecting people's lungs. I believe it's faint odor right now. The other day, Wednesday I believe it was, because there are a lot of fires blowing smoke throughout the whole region on Wednesday, and I know it's probably like this in BC right now, in Alberta, but the sky was so orange that, you looked outside and it was almost apocalyptic looking out there. So I was at work, and I don't have a window directly in my view, but every once in a while I'd look around the corner and see it really looked freaky. It was like we had tinted windows when we don't. And my husband had said that he had been outside when it really got dark, and it, the temperature dropped a few degrees, and it was pretty weird, concerning. But yeah, and aside from that, we've had a bear visit, and it was a shocking visit. I might have already told this story because this was about 3 weeks ago, but I don't think I told it in my last video. But my husband, middle of the day, just goes to let the dog out, and she just started freaking out. This Gidget, the little 10-pound dog, freaks out, runs down the ramp, up onto the lawn, and just chases this bear, this black bear, up a tree. Todd had to convince the dog to come back inside so that the bear could climb out of the tree and run away from my aggressive little dog, who normally, when she sees another dog come up the driveway, she's over her shoulder barking at the other dog as she's running into the house. So to see her chase a bear was actually quite surprising. So now I know I am safe to go outside with my stitching when I have my dog with me. The Gidget anyways, Gonzo is just blind. He would not know. He tries to chase squirrels. It's kind of funny to see him lumber towards a tree blindly, but anyways, and speaking of Gonzo, I know somebody else, I don't know, can't remember who it is, but they were saying that their dog has been recently diagnosed with diabetes, and I totally understand what you're going through. It's a struggle for the first couple of weeks, but after that, once you've got them on a routine, it's easy to cope with, but it's hard to do things like go away, because you need somebody who's going to be able to, you know, stick to the routine and give the dog the insulin and not let them have treats. So it does put a little bit of a damper on things, unless you know, you're willing to board it and make sure that the place that's boarding it is familiar with insulin and the dependencies that go with it. But aside from that, he's, you know, his normal self. Anyways, I know you're not here to hear about my dog, so we'll just get on to the whips. And I have a huge pile around me, so let's see how we go through this. I will start with Alice, and I have not been doing any of the Sal's. I did do the Jessamine Dust Up Sal, and that ended just before my last video, so there hasn't been any Sal's for this period of 2 weeks to coincide with what I've done, aside from doing full coverage fanatics, trying to get my stitches in for that. So I will show you what I've been working on. And again, I will apologize for the volume. I will try to adjust it with my editing, but I do what I can. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Start with Alice. This is by Ori TM. These are no longer in print, so if you can find it and you want it, grab it while you can. I have converted mine to all overdyed, almost all overdyed, and on my own hand-dyed fabric that I dyed myself. It's leftover 32 count opalescent Lugana that I dyed with Rip. And here is where I am so far. I worked on this motif and this and this, and I also did the smoke. And I would work more on this motif, but the mustard seed that I had ordered did not come in the order that I did get. It was the only thing that was on back order, so I did go ahead with some of the other parts that I could work on around that. So that's one whip. Second whip that I've been working on is another one that I started quite a while ago, and I am doing this in a stitch along with a buddy, Diane. Hi. And she is doing hers in the DMC version, and I am doing mine in the overdyed thread version. And if you remember from my previous videos, I decided that this one has to get done because I want to borrow the threads from this for Alice. But I ended up just going and purchasing extra anyways. And I will show you where I am. I'm just trying to move some threads out of the way. This is where I was before. And what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. And there are threads all over. So you will just have to deal with it. This is Wherefore Art Thou by Nora Corbett. And the last time I showed it, I was working on the vase and her hair and a bit above that. And as you can see, I finished the vase and the flowers and made it all the way to the top. And so I put it aside for a little while, and I'm going to work on another project for a little while. And I hope to bring this one out again very soon. Because when I got back to it, I realized, you know, I really liked working on that. And that's how it is with all these whips, right? So that's whip number 2. Whip number 3 is another Nora Corbett. And it is, well, it's a Mirabilia actually, Crystal Christmas. And I started this one a few years ago as well, another stitch along with a buddy. And she's actually doing the companion piece, which is Angels Dwell Here. That's Hi Georgia. And put a picture where I was here. And here's where I am now. And this is on I believe it's 32 count Cashel linen, which I am not a huge fan of because I find it very loose, and so I have to watch my tension. And I have discovered I do not like Kreinik number 8 braid. It's very thick, it's very hard to thread a needle, and when you make a mistake, you get really pissed off. Because I have discovered I have made a mistake. Now, when I stitched this up here, which is one of the braids that I'm talking about, and I had some left on my needle, I decided to leave it on the needle and pick that needle up when I am at a spot where it's needed again. So when I got to this spot, and it's hard to tell because you can't really see the white stitching, but anyways, this is all filled in with white. So I decided I'm going to stitch this little bit here. And I stitched it, and then I was stitching this bit here and realized that was too close. So this here is in the wrong spot. Now, because it's so thick, when I was ending that thread, trying to end a thread that thick was a nightmare. And I had bought this a while ago. It's just a cheap jewelry making kit from Walmart. This pair of pliers now lives with this project because I needed to grab pliers to pull that thread through when I was finishing it off. So yeah, here's the back. I don't know if it's going to focus. Right there. Trying to end that was a nightmare. So now I have to frog it. It has to come out because it's a stitch too high. I would try to budget, but that's not going to work either. So that's whip number 3. Whip number 4 would be 11 by Adele Sessler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is where it was before. Try to get the threads out of the way. And that needle minder that I had on that project was the Snail by Denkai Designs. I decided to use that one because Georgia is so far ahead of me. So that snail is a reminder to catch up. Don't be so slow, slowpoke. This one is stitched on 25 count even weave white. Don't know the maker. And it is on page, well, it's 12 pages done. And I'm working over here. And I don't have a whole lot more progress since the last time you saw it, but it's a little bit. I'm trying to put the minimum in every day, but some days I miss. Like today, I haven't put any stitches in it yet. But that's because I pulled out this really old whip, which I will show you now. And the needle minder on that, which is what reminded me about it, was one that I made myself. This is Angel of Summer by Lavender and Lace. I started this so far back I can't remember. I bought Angel of Winter first, and then I went and bought the other three. Autumn, Summer, and Spring. And I decided to go, I had Winter finished, so I decided to go with Summer. Just because. And here she is. It's huge. And I have picked it up today, and I started working on, I mean, all that I had left to do was beads. So, beads and backstitching. So I backstitched her face, and I backstitched the bird, and he has an eye. I'm not crazy about his eye. I might rip it out, I might leave it. But most of the work has been on this garland. All those beads. And as you can see, I'm not finished yet. When I started this pattern, way back when, it was before I made a working copy. So then I picked it up about 5 years after that, and I went and I made a working copy. And all I made a working copy of was the wings, because that's as far as I was. Well, the top part, the head, the wings, the bird. I guess that's where I had left it off. And only part of the garland shows up. So now, and my scanner doesn't work. So I've been meaning to take it into work and getting a working copy made of the rest of the banner, the garland, for the beading, but I decided I'll just go back to the old-fashioned magnet board, magnets, and just go from there. And it's just random placement of beads, different colored beads, so it really doesn't matter if it's the right symbol or not. And back to my old lint paper and beads system, so it goes pretty quickly. So it was time to move the Q-snap, so I decided, well, then it's time to do a video. So that's why I'm doing a video right now. because I'm going to put this back on the Q-snap and try to get the rest of those beads finished. There's the rest of this garland, and there, down there, and then all through the bottom of the dress here, and then it's finished. And unfortunately, it's probably going to end up back in the bin of shame until I get it framed. And when I was doing the backstitching on it called for 2 strands of backstitching, and I thought that's not what I did with the first one, so I pulled out the first one to have a look. And so you can see, here is Angel Winter. And this is one of those rookie, I'm not going to say rookie mistakes, but I don't know why I didn't realize this when I started stitching it. I started stitching it vertically, and the design is actually wider than it is tall, so it was supposed to go on the fabric this way. So I had worried and worried and worried it wasn't going to fit. So when I was stitching it, I went the full width of it to make sure it did fit, and it does. I have a couple of inches, maybe 1.5 inches on this side of fabric left for framing. So, and also when I did this one, I didn't know anything about whisper, so these are not in the called for whisper. I might go over it with actual whisper, but I might leave it as it is, because whisper is not the funnest thing to work with. So that's a glimpse into the past. And so now the future. I have some haul, and I have some plans, and I also have another FO, and I've shown this a couple of times, but this one, it's a FFO, as in I got a frame for it, and I put it in the frame, and you're going to get glare. There we go. This is the wedding sampler that I did for my sister. And I did not cover up the bad words. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It sparkles a lot, and I learned how to cut mats, because the mat that came with the frame was originally intended for a triple set of pictures, and I cut out the parts that went across, and it wasn't nicely done, so I went and got myself a mat cutter, and now I can just cut my own mats. And that is that. So now I can give it to her, and I think she'll appreciate it. Don't want it to fall. And then the haul. So I had said before that I was waiting for a few things to come in from Traditional Stitches, and I got a couple of threads, I got Raven by Gentle Arts, and I got White Lightning, and just DMC 844 because I needed it for something. So these I had ordered for Alice because I was stealing them from Wherefore Art Thou, and I'm still waiting for Mustard Seed. And I also got myself some more pretty scissors that I can add to my collection now. I will be putting them up there somewhere if they're not in a project. And I also got Alice and the Bee Pack. I don't know when I'm going to start Alice now because I have another idea. I might save it for my next birthday. We'll see. And I also, from Stash Unload, I got Pansy and Lilac. And she also sent me Buttercup, but it's a used chart and doesn't have the picture. So I have those. And I also got the 25th anniversary celebration book with the portrait of Antique Vines chart in it. And that one will be fun to stitch. It's a small stitch. I would just have to get the water lilies and the beads and the treasures because, you know, mirabilias are full of beads and treasures and special threads. So that's my haul, and now my plan, and I think this either starts tomorrow or the next day, but there is a stitch along with the Australian Stitchers with the Mirabilia Queens of Seasons, and I know Lady Bird Stitcher is one of them, and I can't remember the names of the other ones, but they're stitching the queens. They're starting them on the days their season starts in the Southern Hemisphere. And Jessie Marie I just finished watching her this morning, and she is not in the mood to do another big ass mirror. So she had decided that she's going to do the Maidens of the Seasons, and I decided I have a seasonal mirror that I can also do, and it's not Maidens of the Seasons. It is something that I'm pretty sure I got the chart as soon as it came out, and I've been wanting to stitch it for quite a while, and now I have an excuse to start it, and that is Dressmaker's Daughter. And as you can see, there's all the seasons right there. So it does call for a lot of beads and treasures. So I will have to go through my stash and see what I have. But I have this fabric that I got from the Month of the Club, Fabric of the Month Club by Extrude Designs, and I think that it is going to go along with this perfectly. And this is called Sweet Lavender. And it is almost the same color as this dress, which has this border around it anyways, so I don't think that that's going to be a big problem. I had looked at other colored fabrics. I don't really want to do a neutral background, and I think this is really going to make the other dresses pop. So I believe I'm going to be starting that very, very soon. I still have to get my threads pulled and everything else. Like, this was just a whim after I saw Jessie Marie's video. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So that is all of my whips, all of my haul, and all my plans. I'm gonna pull out my dad's stocking, and I'm gonna swap that instead of the Alice. I'll be working on that for a week. I'm gonna try to get more done on Crystal Christmas. Get caught up with Georgia. She has 3 of the cherubs done, so I'm down to 2. I'm almost on the second one, and try to put more into Beloved. But aside from that, I think that's everything. Yeah, I'm just going to stitch on whatever I feel like. I'm not doing arbitrary August. It looks like fun. I might consider doing that in another month. I'm thinking maybe November. I don't know why November. October seems like it should be dark October, but I don't have anything dark. I have something I want to kit up and start, but I don't need any more whips, and I'm already got a start in the works. So we'll see how this all goes. Anyways, I'm gonna work on some more of the Angel of Summer, and I'm going to catch up on Flosstube because I'm way behind. And hopefully I'll have a finish to show you next time. And whether that's a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or a month from now, I don't know. We'll just see what life brings. So, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing, commenting. I love the comments. I try to respond. You can follow me on Instagram at TinaStitches74, and I will try to keep everything up to date. Some things I don't post because then it's like, well, I'm posting over there, so why would I make a video about it? But, so anyways, if you want to follow me over there, go ahead. And we'll see you next time.